What's good, gang? Welcome back to another NezzyB Update Loop. We got the Arc Raiders roadmap update for 2026 dropping. Marvel Rivals pushing boundaries with Deadpool's chaos, and it feels like right now everything is starting to line up. Games, movies, shows, characters, worlds all moving in the same direction. Like everything's low-key syncing up in real time. Let's get into it. And starting with Arc Raiders, because this one feels less like a regular update and more like the beginning of a bigger storyline. Almost like how Star Wars builds eras, factions, and long-term arcs. The new roadmap doesn't just show what's coming next, it shows the tone they're setting for the world, the enemies, and how players are meant to survive in it. And when you really look at this Arc Raiders roadmap, it's clear this isn't just them adding content for the sake of it. It feels like Embark is laying out phases, almost like chapters, new enemies, new environmental conditions, new map changes, and bigger PvE threats that actually shift how you move and how you play. They're leaning harder into the PvPvE balance too, making the world itself more dangerous. So it's not just the players you gotta worry about. More boss level enemies, more high risk zones, more moments where you have to decide whether to fight, hide, or dip. It's less about running the same loop every match and more about adapting to a world that keeps evolving. And the deeper you look into Arc Raiders roadmap, the more it feels like this isn't just content updates. It's a design philosophy taking shape. The devs have been clear about one thing. Arc Raiders is PvPvE at its core, and they're protecting that identity. PvP is meant to create tension, not turn the game into a non-stop kill race. That's why they're experimenting with aggression-based matchmaking. More aggressive players get grouped up together, while more passive or cooperative players get matched with similar energy. They're also avoiding traditional PvP features like leaderboards and stat farming because they don't want to shift the focus into pure competition. The goal is survival, teamwork, exploration, and smart decision making, not chasing kills. On top of that, they're learning into smarter enemy AI and more diverse machine threats. This isn't reskin territory anymore. Enemies are becoming more tactical, more adaptive, and more punishing if you play on autopilot. With bigger arc enemies like the Wreck Titan, faster sentry units, ace turrets, and boss tier threats like the Matriarch becoming more active, the world itself starts to feel like a living war zone, not just a map, but a battlefield that reacts, escalates, and evolves. And that's where the cinematic side comes in. Arc Raiders is starting to feel less like a standard extraction shooter and more like a long-term sci-fi saga, almost like Star Wars style arc where factions rise, threats escalate, and each season feels like a new chapter in a bigger conflict. So now that you see the mindset behind Arc Raiders, the PvPvE, identity, smarter AI, and a long-term vision, let's talk about what's really coming in 2026 because the roadmap is loaded. Let's get into it. It seems like January is all about tightening that foundation of Arc Raiders and giving players more control over how they experience the game. They're rolling out high-level matchmaking for level 40 plus players, meaning sweats get matched with sweats, while newer or more casual players don't get instantly farmed. Why that matters? It protects both sides. Competitive players get a real challenge, casual players get breathing room. That's Embark cleaning up the competitive ecosystem early, so the skill gap feels earned, not punishing. Now, solo versus squads. Risk, ego, and high stakes freedom. They're introducing the mode where level 40 plus raiders can run solo against full squads. If you want to go solo, you can, but it comes with a higher risk and higher XP rewards. Why that's big? It creates a high skill lane, it rewards clutch instincts, it gives solo players a reason to push themselves, turning solo runs into hero moments. Next, environmental evolution. The map starts fighting back. They're adding a map condition that shapes how you rotate and survive. It's not just about gun skill, it's adaptation. The world stops being background and becomes a threat. Then more player projects. Community shapes the world. They're expanding that system where players unlock content together. Veterans get fresh progression, new players plug in immediately. It turns the game into a shared ecosystem. Also, more expedition projects come next. That means build resets so you can experiment without feeling locked in. It's a huge quality of life upgrade. You get to try new playstyles, adapt to metas, and recover from bad builds. It makes the game feel like a sandbox and not a punishment. Finally, in-game refinement. Risk finally feels worth it. Stat size, loot, efficiency, extraction rewards, it's all getting better. Now those high risk runs feel worth it, and the in-game loop gets deeper and fairer and more replayable for long-term players. Alright, check it out. January was all about laying the foundation and giving players more freedom. But February is where Arc Raiders start pushing the whole world forward, expanding the map, ramping up threats, and deepening the game's identity. We're talking major map updates, a new Arc enemy, and a fresh Raider deck loaded with gear, cosmetics, and progression. They're also refining Expedition, changing how you deploy, extract, and manage risks. Runs aren't about raw aggression anymore. It's judgment, timing, and discipline. In short, Arc Raiders keep shifting from a shooter into a real survival experience. March is when Arc Raiders really cranks up the tension. The Flashpoint update drops a major map condition tied into the ongoing escalation story. Now they haven't fully confirmed the exact weather mechanics, but here's what's locked in. Flashpoint is going to crank up the danger, volatility, and unpredictability. Think harsher conditions, more environmental pressure, and less predictable rotations. It's not just the enemies anymore. The map itself shapes every run, and on top of that, we got a new Arc enemy stepping up, a scrappy update to expand companion features, and another player project continuing the community-driven world evolution. So what's happening? Embark is dialing up the tension, the uncertainty, and the stakes. Encounters feel less scripted, runs feel less safe, and outcomes are never guaranteed. This is where Arc Raiders shifts into a high-intensity survival experience where every match feels unique, not a rinse and repeat. And from there, April's going to be a whole new level. April is looking like the first big expansion moment in Arc Raiders' roadmap. They're dropping Riven Tides, a brand new coastal map, and it's a major shift in tone. If the earlier maps were all urban ruins, map terrain, this flips it. We're talking shorelines, ocean-adjacent combat, wreckage field coastlines, the whole nine. Expect changes in rotation, cover, mid-range fights, even how you approach extraction. Plus, they're bringing in a massive aquatic Arc boss on the scale of the Queen. This is Apex level, big conflict, big risk, and it's going to be a spectacle. Why it's huge? This is a milestone, new biome, new threat, and it feels like the climax of Arc Raiders' first major saga. It's like the finale of Season 1 in a long sci-fi epic. It seems they're building a long-term evolving sci-fi universe, smarter enemies, expanding environments, escalating world threats, deeper progression systems, and mechanics that reward experimentation instead of punishing curiosity. This doesn't feel like a disposable extraction shooter. It feels like the foundation of a franchise, where every update builds narrative weight, mechanical depth, and world continuity. And when you step back and really analyze what Arc Raiders is doing, it stops looking like a normal update cycle. It's clear they're laying infrastructure for a long-term world, something that can keep expanding over time without losing its identity or PvPvE roots. And with the hype Arc Raiders is starting to pull, you gotta ask, is this the kind of game that becomes bigger than gaming? Because if Arc Raiders keeps gaining traction, this could turn into a pivot point. Not for just the game, but for creators, streamers, studios, and the industry as a whole. Big publishers are always watching momentum. If Arc Raiders proves that long-term world building, PvPvE, and live evolution actually works, don't be surprised if other major studios start shifting direction. Chasing deeper worlds, smarter AI, and more franchise-ready games. This can influence how future games get built. More long-term roadmaps, more evolving universes, more IP designed to live across gaming, film, and streaming. Arc Raiders isn't just trying to be a successful game, it's starting to feel like a blueprint for the next wave of sci-fi franchises. And if this keeps up, Arc Raiders might end up being one of those games people look back and say, that's where the shift started. This is where everything starts syncing up. Games, movies, shows, IP franchises, all moving together. Bigger worlds, longer stories, and deeper universes. Not just playing games anymore. Not just watching TV shows. Now it's about building worlds that live across gaming, film, streaming, and culture. Do y'all actually like that approach? Games that feel like evolving universes instead of one-off updates? And if Arc Raiders keeps escalating like this, could it really grow into a full sci-fi franchise, not just a game? Now let's pivot to a different kind of evolution. Not world building, but character building, because Deadpool and Marvel Rivals isn't just another hero drop. He feels like a preview of how far devs are willing to push creativity, flexibility, and personality in a character design. If Arc Raiders represents the evolution of worlds, Deadpool represents the evolution of how characters are built, expressed, and played. We just talked about expanding universes, long-term worlds, evolving ecosystems, living timelines. Now we're zooming in from worlds to identity. Deadpool isn't just another hero. He's basically a test run for how wild and experimental things can get. And honestly, it's bigger than him. This is about where character design and competitive games can go next. Deadpool's kit breaks traditional rules. High mobility, chaotic pressure, self-sustained, unpredictable tempo. He doesn't lock into one identity. He flexes based on how creative you get. He's a flanker, a disruptor, a burst DPS. It's all about your approach. His personality bleeds into gameplay. Fourth wall breaks, trolling energy, controlled chaos. He's not just a DPS. He's Marvel Rivals telling us heroes to be expressive, not generic. If Deadpool works, future characters might be even more experimental, unpredictable, and just plain fun. Now enter Elsa Bloodstone, a darker shift in tone. If Deadpool represents chaos, Elsa represents control, precision, and darkness. Before we talk kit, let's talk who she really is. Elsa Bloodstone is a supernatural monster hunter, a relic-wielding, gunslinging, demon-slaying specialist who lives in Marvel's darker corners. She hunts monsters, undead, supernatural threat, occult forces, and cosmic horrors. She's closer to Midnight Sun's energy more than Avengers energy. Less jokes, more grit, more blood, more danger. Where Deadpool brings humor and unpredictability, Elsa brings discipline, lethality, and hunter instinct. This signals Marvel Rivals leaning deeper into darker Marvel territory. Magic, Moon Knight, Blade, occult arcs, supernatural power, fantasy. Deadpool expands chaos, Elsa expands tone. Elsa just doesn't add a hero, she's expanding the whole vibe. More supernatural, more dark Marvel energy, mixing serious tones with chaos. Marvel Rivals is shifting into a multi-tone battleground comedy, chaos, grit, horror style, strategy. Deadpool brings the wild fun, Elsa brings lethal precision. Together, they build a layered ecosystem, and it's not just heroes evolving, the competitive scene is too. Introducing Clobbering Club, their 1v1 arena for pure duels. To keep it quick, there's an overclock. After 60 seconds, both players get buffed. That means no stalling, more clutch plays, faster highlights, and cleaner content. Marvel Rivals isn't just a team shooter anymore, it's becoming a dual stage, a skill sandbox, and a highlight factory. They're leaning hard into personality. We got maps like Disco Club in Times Square or the Museum of Contemplation, comic book flair over bland arenas. And the Disco Revolution skins, Luna Snow, Thor, Spidey, and more, rocking retro color and club energy. Skins aren't just cosmetics, they're shaping the vibe. Marvel Rivals is saying sweat if you want, but do it with style and personality. Big picture, Marvel Rivals isn't just a hero shooter. Deadpool pushes creative freedom, Elsa pushes a dark technical design, Clobbering Club pushes competitive energy, cosmetics and maps push identity and spectacle. They're shaping cultural style and expression, not just a roster. Now let me ask y'all, do you want safe, balanced heroes or wild experimental ones like Deadpool and Elsa that push identity and creativity? If Marvel Rivals keeps evolving like this, could it become the most expressive hero shooter out right now? We've talked about how Marvel Rivals is evolving characters and identity, but this creative evolution is bigger than just hero shooters. Studios across gaming are pushing boundaries. Games are getting bolder, weirder, and more ambitious. So let's zoom out from hero shooters and shift what's happening across the gaming scene. If you haven't hopped into High on Life yet, this is one of those games that reminds you gaming doesn't always need to be serious to innovate. It's pure chaos, absurd, comedic, breaking the fourth wall, unapologetically weird, talking guns, alien satire, wild humor, like Rick and Morty went full sci-fi shooter. And with the sequel on the horizon, now's the moment to revisit how it stood out, pushing tone, comedy, and creative freedom, kind of like Deadpool does for Marvel. But now, let's flip that tone. If High on Life is wild and unfiltered, Crimson Desert is the opposite. Cinematic, grounded, epic. We're moving from chaos to large-scale fantasy, deep systems, and brutal combat. So now let's deep dive into Crimson Desert, one of the most ambitious RPGs coming up. Alright, let's tap into Crimson Desert because this game's scope is feeling truly next-gen. it's not just aiming to be another open world RPG, it's trying to be a fully immersive fantasy ecosystem. Let's get into combat, because this one's looking like one of the most expressive systems in fantasy gaming. Aerial combat, check. WWE style grapples and slams, check. Brutal melee combos, cinematic boss fights, flashy finishers, all in. This is a skill-based and powerful, and the fantasy chaos goes wild. We're talking riding bears, dinosaurs, mechanized enemies, flight abilities, even dragons. But it's not just about spectacle. The world design is signaling immersion over empty space. They want you to jump in, and even if you got just an hour, it'll feel meaningful. We're talking dense, content-rich, respectful of your time. This isn't an empty sandbox. This is a world that's alive every time you step in. This game doesn't look like it's built around checklist objectives. It looks built for curiosity. We're talking floating puzzle, freeing giants, bounty-style quests, flight-based traversal, hidden collectibles, rare gear, and secrets scattered across the map. This feels made for players who love roaming, getting lost, finding hidden content, and discovering moments naturally. Not rushing from marker to marker. It's less follow the map and more let your curiosity lead the adventure. Now here's one of the wildest twists. Multiplayer. Crimson Desert isn't just a solo ride. It's stepping into that medieval fantasy sandbox lane. Think less just co-op and more like GTA Online energy in a fantasy world. We're talking mercenary missions, PvP encounters, free roam exploration, and open-ended sandbox gameplay. So it's got a dual identity. This can be a cinematic solo journey, but also a shared fantasy playground. That's the kind of dual approach that gives the game some real long-term life. And hey, it's not all about combat either. This world's meant to be lived in. You got fishing, hunting, gathering, taming horses, crafting, you name it. Whether you're a sweat, a completionist, or someone who just wants to vibe in a beautiful world, there's a lane for you. It's tapping into that real life sim fantasy within a AAA RPG. And when a game reaches that level of immersion, scale, and creativity, it raises the bar for the entire industry. But let's slide out of gaming for a moment, because the whole trend of bigger universes, deeper worlds, it doesn't stop there. We're seeing it in TV, movies, and pop culture too. It's not just random content drops anymore. It's expanding worlds, evolving IPs, and universes syncing across every screen. Take Invincible for example. Season 4 is on the way, and the tone is only escalating. Darker, more brutal, more emotional, higher stakes. The power scaling is rising, the consequences feel heavier, and the story is locked on long-term conflict. Meanwhile, the Invincible game coming April 30th aims to bring that same gritty, violent energy into the gameplay. This isn't just a spin-off. Invisible's turn into a full ecosystem. Show, game, merch, long-term IP. You're not just watching it, you're playing it. So the question, do you trust the game to match the show's tone, or will it feel watered down? Now let's tap into horror real quick, because a few big names just hit. Silent Hill dropped and reactions are already mixed. Some say it nailed the atmosphere, others think it didn't live up to its legacy. And that's what makes it interesting. It's less about a breakdown and more about the community debate. Is nostalgia making us too harsh, or does Silent Hill deserve that higher bar? Now Resident Evil is on a different wave. RE9 is locked in for February release, and it's a turning point. Will it go back to real survival horror, slow, scary, tense, or will it push more into cinematic action, big set pieces, blockbuster energy? RE9 could bring that fear, push tech boundaries, or redefine the whole franchise. So what's the vibe? Scarier, more cinematic, or action-packed? And it's not just the game. Resident Evil's movie reboot is set for September 18th, 2026. Resident Evil still expanding across games and film, rebuilding its identity for fans and mainstream alike. So should Resident Evil movies stick to the games or carve their own horror lane? And hold up, Scream 7 is coming February 27, 2026. Sydney's back, a new generation steps in, and Ghostface keeps that legacy alive. But there's one question, is Scream still about reinventing scares, or is it all about tradition and franchise loyalty now? But let's pivot out of fear and jump right back into hype. Franchises and that pop culture momentum. We got a major crossover moment. Ryan Hurst is officially cast as Kratos in the God of War TV series. That's big. Gaming IPs aren't just being adapted, they're being treated like prestige TV now. Games are officially becoming Hollywood source material. TV franchise foundation, and long-form cinematic universes. It's all feeding into that same storytelling machine. Games becoming shows, shows becoming movies, movies feeding back into games. So the question is, do you trust God of War as a TV series, or does it feel risky? But look, not every IP needs to evolve like that. Some survive by staying exactly what they are. Jackass 5 is coming June 26th, and the wild thing is how the franchise still holds weight. It shows you something. Not every brand needs to become a universe. Some last because they stay raw, chaotic, and authentic. No lore, no multiverse, just nostalgia, stunts, pain, wild energy, and pure fun. Not everything has to be deep. Sometimes people just want to laugh, react, and feel that legacy chaos all over again. But the next wave of hype that comes from events where announcements break, fandoms gather, and the future gets revealed. Let's lock into the event radar. Even though CES 2026 just wrapped, that tech aftershock is still rolling. AI PCs, rising AI chips, GPUs, creative tools, and the next-gen gaming hardware are shaping what's next for creators and gamers in 2026. It's setting the stage for smarter setups, AI-powered tools, and accessible, powerful rigs. Then from February 10th to the 12th, DICE Summit is where devs, publishers, and execs shape gaming's future. It's where budgets get set, AI trends get discussed, and what games are getting greenlit. So you might want to stay tapped in. Now tapping into the anime culture, we got Anime Washington goes down February 6th through the 8th, where anime fans, cosplayers, voice actors, creators, and gaming communities come together. Then from February 18th through the 22nd, Escape WinterCon brings pure hardcore gaming energy, tournaments, LAN vibes, competitive scenes, and grassroots esports. Then stepping into pop culture, Planet Comic Con hits March 27th through the 29th. And then the biggest stage of them all, San Diego Comic Con, running July 23rd through July 26th. This is the Super Bowl of fandom. Now let's jump into the release radar. Marvel's Wonder Man just dropped on Disney Plus. You can binge watch the whole season right now. The Strangers Chapter 3 hits theaters on February 6th, and Vanish drops February 1st if you're into mystery thrillers. On the gaming side, High Guard is out now as a free-to-play shooter. Neo 3 drops February 6th, and Code Vein 2 hits January 30th. Not the crazy window, but still some gems worth checking out. Now let's tap into the tech radar, because tech is low-key changing the game. AMD's new Ryzen AI 400 series is coming in with up to 60 top NPUs. In simple terms, that's a big boost in on-device AI power. What that means for you, your PC handles AI tasks locally, no cloud required, so instead of sending data out to the internet, your computer does the thinking on its own. You get faster performance, less lag, more privacy, and a smooth real-time feature. Plus, it supports Microsoft Copilot Plus PCs designed for AI-assisted workflows, smarter multitasking, automation, and creative tools. Why this matters? For creators, whether you stream, edit, or produce content, this means working faster and cleaner without upgrading your entire setup. Think faster video editing, AI highlights, auto captions for TikTok, AI thumbnails, real-time audio cleanup, and less stress on your hardware while streaming. In short, better content, less effort, less cost for gamers. It means smarter NPCs, AI upscaling, smoother frame generation, and performance boosts on even mid-range PCs. Instead of a full upgrade, AI stresses what you already have. Now you can see we're moving from buy stronger hardware to let smarter software carry the workload. That's huge, especially for creators building the budget setups and gamers who just want smooth performance without overspending. AI isn't replacing skill, it's removing technical barriers so more people can compete, create, and play at higher levels. So now that we've covered games, shows, and events, and the tech power and everything, let's bring it back to the people. I want y'all takes. Arc Raiders, are you rocking with the long-term roadmap direction? Marvel Rivals, Deadpool, and Elsa type heroes, W or nah? Crimson Desert, a day one cop, or are you gonna wait to see? Resident Evil, Silent Hill, or Scream 7? Is horror really making a comeback? Drop your takes, I'm reading them. And that's another NezzyB Update Loop. If you rock with it, lock in. We doing this consistently. Like the video, drop a comment, subscribe, and share it with somebody who stays tapped into games, movies, culture. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Gang!